successful stock screens for fundamentalists or technicians, as you'll see in this Screen of the Week.
Now we're going to talk about screening for stock picks that are derived from economic reports. Sounds interesting. It really is. And our top stock screener, Kevin Matras, is here to tell us more about it. I know you've written about this in the past.
Right.
I don't know if you and I have talked about this in the past, but it is interesting. So what you're really saying is that if you dig deeper beneath the surface, there is a bit more to those economic reports that come out.
Yeah, first off, I'm sure we have talked about this in the past.
It's been so long, I don't recall.
But yeah, the reports, there's just a ton of great information. And every week the government or other entities, they will release a ton of reports. And it will cover all aspects of the economy, from retail sales to housing to consumer sentiment, everything in between. What's interesting is that on any given day, there's going to be anywhere from one to a handful of different reports. And while the media does cover these reports, they do a fine enough job. Typically, they're only going to focus in on the headline numbers. So they don't really do a deep dive. And I have always thought this was a bit unfortunate because if you really look into these reports a little bit further, there is a wealth of stock picking information if you just read an extra 5 or 10 minutes worth of the report.
So give us an example of a deep dive. We just had a jobs report come out not long ago.
Well, you know, the employment situation report, that just came out on Friday. And, you know, the employment situation report, they always show which sectors have produced the most amount of jobs. They'll show which labor force has expanded, which part of the labor force has contracted. But when the report first comes out, what they usually will tell you is there's, you know, X number of jobs were created in aggregate. And then they will tell you what the unemployment rate is. But again, being able to see where those jobs were created, that's an important part. So I remember going back to 2012, for example, I remember when I was looking at housing. And I was getting into housing back then when nobody else wanted to even touch housing. The reason why I did it is because I was looking at that employment situation report, and month after month after month, I would see construction jobs continuing to trend up. And seeing the construction jobs go up over and over again, I knew that the housing market had turned. And that was one of the first signals that the housing market was really ready for a recovery, and people could have used that as an opportunity to get in if they knew where to look. But again, the headline number, they missed it. So at that point, jobs creation was kind of anemic, but if you looked at the couple of areas where things were thriving, that really would have put some great stocks onto your radar screen.
All right, so let's stick with that employment situation report that just came out a few days ago. Anything good in that one?
Yeah, there was a bunch of good stuff. So I have some slides here, but there were 5 particular industries that really showed where the majority of the new jobs were created. So here they are in order. Professional and business services, there were 63,000 new jobs created, and over the last 12 months, there was over 671,000 new jobs created in that area. Then you have leisure and hospitality services. They did 57,000 new jobs. Healthcare, they added 47,000 new jobs, 408,000 over the last 12 months. Retail trade, they were up 31,000 new jobs, and that's interesting because that was 30% above the monthly average over the last 12 months. And construction jobs were up another 17,000, and construction jobs have been continuing to trend up. The reason why I like looking at the employment situation report for stock picking ideas is because if you're seeing an industry where they are doing a lot of hiring, normally means that there's a lot of business activity to warrant all of the additional hiring. So if there is a lot of additional business activity, that normally means it's more money for the company, which means more profits for the company, and usually that means you're going to see the stock prices go up as well. So I think that is a fantastic place to look if you're looking for new stock picking ideas.
So how does all of this portend then to screening?
Well, I mean, once these reports come out, the reports are going to help point you into the right direction. And for this report in particular, you can just go to any screener, like a screener that we have on Zacks.com or the Research Wizard, and then you can plug in the sectors or industries of interest. Once you've done that, then you want to start adding in a lot of your favorite stock picking criteria. For me, that would be companies with a Zacks rank of a 1 or a 2. I'm going to be looking at companies with a style score of an A or a B. Then you have a lot of the more common things. You want to look at companies with market-beating growth rates, valuations that are below the average for their industry, and these types of things. But this is a great way, using these types of economic reports, it's a wonderful way to execute a lot of top-down analysis. Then you can start adding in all of your favorite parameters to really zero in on the gems.
All right, so in this employment report that we were talking about that just came out a few days ago, what about some stocks that came through your screen?
There were a bunch of gems, but here's 5 of them in particular. We have ACM, that came from the professional businesses and services. You have Live Nation Entertainment, that was from leisure and hospitality. You have HCA Holdings, which is a hospital group. They are in healthcare. Asbury Automotive, that was from retail. And then you have Dycom Industries, which was construction. The point of the story is that profitable stock picking ideas can come at any time and at any place. All you have to do is just kind of know where to look. And if you're looking at these economic reports, just doing a little bit of additional reading past the headline number, you can really find out what areas are really in play, and that can really help you pick some good stocks. And if you really do start reading these reports a little bit more in depth, you'll feel pretty smart in doing so too.
All right, do you own any of these?
I do have HCA Holdings.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for stopping by again. We'll look forward to chatting with you about more of these screens in the weeks to come. In the meantime, if you want to find out more about screening, the tools that Kevin uses to achieve all of the screens that he talks about, the Research Wizard tool, and other screening tools that are on Zacks.com, including a print version of the screen that we just talked about, all you need to do is go to our homepage, Zacks.com, and get to the screening section using the screening tab in the top toolbar. It's pretty simple. With Kevin, I'm Terry Ruffalo.